Welcome. We're about to get into something really important today. We're going to tackle a huge question. In a really high-stakes job, how do you actually measure safety? We're going to break down the specific numbers and the language used in the oil and gas services industry to see what really goes into keeping people safe on the job.
I mean, really think about that for a second. When lives are on the line every single day, you can't just go by feeling that things are safe. You need cold, hard data. You need metrics that everyone agrees on so you can compare one company to another. So what are these all-important numbers, and how do they work?
All right, so here's our game plan. First, we're going to talk about something called SASB standards, the big picture. Then we'll zoom right into the oil and gas services industry itself. We'll look at how they track workforce safety, decode all those acronyms, and then, most importantly, we'll talk about why these numbers matter so much. Okay, first things first. Before you can compare anything, you need a common language, right? A shared rule book. Well, in the world of sustainability reporting, that's exactly what SASB standards are for. So, the Sustainability Accounting Standards Board, or SASB, which by the way is now part of the IFRS Foundation, is the organization that creates these incredibly detailed rulebooks. And they don't just have one, they have specific ones for 77 different industries, because what's risky for a tech company is totally different from what's risky on an oil rig. And you know, this isn't just about PR or feeling good, this is serious business. These standards are designed to get companies talking about sustainability issues, like worker safety, that could legitimately impact their bottom line. It gives investors real, comparable data to see who's managing their risks well and who isn't. And here's a quick look at how they're built. It's a pretty logical process. They start by defining the industry. What do these companies actually do? Then they pinpoint the biggest risks, like, you guessed it, worker safety. From there, they create specific metrics to measure performance and provide super detailed instructions on exactly how to do the measuring. It's incredibly thorough.
Okay, so with that background, let's zoom in. Out of all those industries, we're going to focus on just one today, oil and gas services.
So who are these guys? Well, they're the ones doing the really heavy lifting in the field. They're drilling the wells, building the massive equipment, providing all the critical support. And here's the key thing to understand. A huge part of their business, how they win contracts, is based on their safety record. It's not just a line item, it's a core competitive advantage.
So if safety is that fundamental to their business, how in the world do they track it? Well, it all boils down to a few really specific, really important data points. And let's not forget the stakes here. We're talking about people working in some of the toughest environments on the planet, dealing with incredibly hazardous materials. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet, they represent real people in real danger every single day.
Okay, so here are the metrics. This is it. The SASB standard for this industry says, under the topic of workforce health and safety, you need to report on 4 things. The Total Recordable Incident Rate, or TRIR, the fatality rate, the near-miss frequency rate, NMFR, and the average hours of safety training for both your own employees and your contractors. Now let's actually figure out what all that means.
This is the fun part. We're going to take all those acronyms and that corporate speak and turn it into something we can all actually understand.
Let's start with TIR. This is kind of the big catch-all metric. An incident is recordable if it's serious. We're talking something that results in death, forces someone to take days off, restricts their work duties, or requires a doctor's visit that's more than just a Band-Aid. It's the broadest measure of significant workplace injuries. The second one, well, it's brutally simple. The fatality rate. This is a direct measure of the number of people who have died on the job. There's no hiding from this number. It's the most tragic outcome and an absolutely essential metric to track. And then there's the near-miss frequency rate, or NMFR. And this one is fascinating because it's proactive. It's about tracking the close calls, the things that almost happened, an event that didn't cause any harm but easily could have. A company that pays close attention to its near misses is a company that's trying to learn from mistakes before they turn into accidents. It's a huge indicator of a healthy safety culture. So you might be wondering, how do they actually calculate these rates, the TIR, fatality, and near-miss rates? Well, they all use this one standard formula. You take the number of incidents, whatever they may be, multiply it by 200,000, and then divide the whole thing by the total hours everyone worked. But seeing that formula just begs one obvious question.
Why 200,000? I mean, it seems so random, doesn't it? Where do they get that from?
Well, it's not random at all. It's actually pretty brilliant. 200,000 is the number of hours that 100 people would work in a typical year. So by using it, you standardize everything. It basically turns the rate into the number of incidents per 100 full-time workers. It's a simple trick that lets you compare the safety record of a tiny company with a massive one, apples to apples.
And finally, remember that fourth metric about training hours? The standard makes it very clear you have to report hours for your direct employees, the people on your payroll, separately from your contract employees. And this is a huge deal because on any given job site, there are tons of contractors. And if they're not getting the same level of training, that's a massive hole in your safety net.
Okay, so we've broken down all the metrics, we know what they mean, but let's pull back for the big question. So what? Why does all of this data crunching really truly matter?
I think this quote from the standard itself just says it all. This isn't just about internal reports that sit on a shelf. Customers are looking at this data. A company's track record on injuries and fatalities is a make-or-break factor when they're deciding who gets the next big contract. A good safety record is good for business, plain and simple.
At the end of the day, this is about so much more than just checking a box or avoiding fines. It's about building an entire culture where safety comes first. It's about making sure every single worker gets to go home at the end of their shift. And it's about proving to the whole world that you're a company that can be trusted to do the job right, and to do it safely.
So I'll leave you with this one last thought to chew on. When a company is tracking its TIR, its fatality rate, its near misses, who is really being protected? Is it the worker out on the rig? Is it the company trying to win a contract? Or is it the investor who's trying to manage their risk? The real answer, of course, is that it's all three. You can't truly protect one of them without protecting them all. Thanks for tuning in.